In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college basketball games happening on March 16, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college basketball games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Tennessee versus Florida. The 4-seed Tennessee Volunteers are set to battle the 2-seed Florida Gators for the Southeastern Conference Championship on Sunday. Both teams have fought through tough competition to get to this point, with Tennessee taking down the tournament's top seed, Auburn, in the semifinals, while Florida handled business against 3-seed Alabama. These two squads have already faced off twice during the regular season, each defending their home court successfully and splitting the series. Now, they meet on a neutral court with everything on the line. During the regular season, their 2 meetings were anything but close, with both home teams delivering dominant victories by margins of at least 20 points. History hasn't been kind to Tennessee in this tournament when it's held in their home state, as their last championship under those circumstances dates all the way back to 1936. Meanwhile, Florida has been waiting a while for their own tournament title, with their last one coming in 2014. When these two met back in early February, Tennessee's defense put on a clinic, suffocating Florida's offense and holding them to a shockingly low 44 points. But that loss seemed to flip a switch for the Gators. Since then, they've been nearly unstoppable, winning 11 of their last 12 games while putting up an average of 89 points per contest. Those victories weren't just close calls either. They won by an average of 15 points. Florida is riding a wave of offensive momentum, and they haven't forgotten what Tennessee's defense did to them last time. Over the last 10 games, the Volunteers have struggled against the spread, going just 4-6, while Florida has been dominant, posting a 9-1 record against the spread. Looking specifically at their head-to-head matchups, the Gators have covered in 3 of the last 5 meetings. Tennessee has likely secured a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament regardless of the outcome here, but Florida has a chance to lock up a coveted 1 seed with a victory. And given the way they've been lighting up the scoreboard, they're in a great position to do just that. Both teams are elite, but when it comes to offensive efficiency, the numbers tell a clear story. Florida ranks 3rd in the nation, while Tennessee sits at 18th. The Volunteers simply don't have the same firepower, and they can't afford to rely on Zakai Zeigler to be their main scoring option. At just 5'9" and averaging 13 points per game, he's not built to carry this offense alone. Florida, on the other hand, is rolling. They just hung 104 points in regulation against Alabama, proving they can pour it on when needed. Their backcourt trio of Clayton, Richard, and Martin has been outstanding, with each player scoring at least 16 points in both of their Southeastern Conference tournament games. Florida is deeper, more explosive, and has the offensive edge heading into this championship matchup. As our first pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Through their 2 meetings this season, these teams combined to average just 112 total points per game, with one team failing to reach 45 points in both contests. That tells you everything you need to know about how defensively intense these battles have been. It's shaping up to be another grinded-out affair, especially considering that both teams are now playing their 3rd game in as many days, something neither squad has had to do all season. On top of that, this will be the 33rd game of the year for both teams, meaning fatigue could start playing a factor. Tennessee's physicality will be a challenge for Florida's typically strong rebounding unit, and the Volunteers have a style of play that wears opponents down over the course of a game. That kind of pressure, combined with tired legs on both sides, could drag the scoring pace down even further. Throughout the season, the under has been a consistent trend for both squads, hitting in a combined 35 games. Additionally, in their last 10 matchups against each other, the under has cashed in 8 times. Given all these factors, it's tough to see this game turning into a shootout. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. George Mason versus VCU. The George Mason Patriots are set to take on the VCU Rams in the championship game of the Atlantic 10 Conference Tournament this Sunday at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. The winner of the game will secure an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, which begins next week. George Mason made it to the final after defeating St. Joseph 74-64 in their semifinal matchup on Saturday. With that victory, George Mason extended their winning streak to 4 games and has won 5 of their last 6 overall. Meanwhile, VCU secured their spot in the final by beating Loyola Chicago 62-55 in their semifinal. The Rams had previously defeated St. Bonaventure in the quarterfinals. With Saturday's win, VCU has now won 11 of their last 12 games. The championship game on Sunday will feature the top 2 seeds in the Atlantic 10 tournament, both vying for a chance to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. Throughout the tournament, both teams have shown their defensive prowess, and they've been 2 of the best defensive squads in the conference all season long. However, VCU has faced challenges offensively during the tournament and has struggled to find any offensive rhythm. The Rams have been shooting just 26.6% from three-point range and have had difficulty getting their key scorers involved. On the other hand, George Mason has been firing on all cylinders offensively in the Atlantic 10 tournament, shooting 53.8% from the field and 47.1% from beyond the arc. In the regular season matchup between these two teams, VCU won 70-54 at home, but the Rams have yet to find their shooting touch in the tournament, and they haven't been generating much offense. Meanwhile, Jalen Haynes has been a dominant force in the paint for George Mason, and the senior players on the team have stepped up their game. Both George Mason and VCU finished the regular season with impressive 15-3 records in conference play, which earned them a tie for first place in the A10 standings. Now, they'll face off in the championship game. George Mason is currently riding a 4-game winning streak, with their defense limiting opponents to 65 points or fewer in each of those games. VCU, on the other hand, has won 11 of their last 12 games, with their only loss during this stretch coming against Dayton. The Rams have also been strong defensively, holding their opponents to 62 points or fewer in 7 of their last 8 games. While VCU won the regular season meeting with George Mason by a score of 70-54, this upcoming matchup is expected to be much closer. Given the context of a conference tournament championship, the spread for this game is relatively large. However, George Mason has been playing better basketball lately, and their current form makes them a dangerous underdog. With their defense playing at a high level, the Patriots will likely keep the game close. As our first pick for this matchup, we're taking the George Mason Patriots to cover the spread as underdogs for our full game side pick. This will be the 3rd game in as many days for both teams, and throughout the tournament, both teams have demonstrated their ability to lock down defensively. VCU has held both of their opponents to under 60 points, while George Mason has limited their opponents to 65 points or fewer. When these two teams faced each other in the regular season, they combined for 124 points, and it's reasonable to expect a similarly slow-paced game here. VCU has had difficulty shooting the ball in their first 2 Atlantic 10 tournament games and hasn't found any consistent offense. The Rams have been shooting under 30% from three-point range and only managed to score 62 points in their win against Loyola Chicago. George Mason, on the other hand, has been shooting very well, but this will undoubtedly be their toughest challenge yet. As mentioned earlier, VCU has been exceptional defensively, allowing just an average of 57 points per game in the tournament, which is a significant improvement from their regular season average of 63 points allowed per game. VCU's adjusted tempo, according to Ken Palm, is 66.2, which ranks 242nd, and George Mason's adjusted tempo is even slower at 64.5, placing them 320th. The combined tempo of these two teams makes for a game that's likely to be low-scoring. In their earlier regular season matchup, the game finished with just 124 points, which was under the closing line of 130 points. For both teams, this will be the toughest defensive opponent they've faced in the Atlantic 10 tournament, and after 2 hard-fought games, scoring will be hard to come by in this one. As our second pick for this matchup, we're taking the under on the projected total for our full game total pick. Wisconsin versus Michigan hash. Number 5 Wisconsin is set to face off against number 3 Michigan at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. The last time these two teams met was on December 3rd, when Michigan won 67-64 on the road, despite being a 3-point underdog. The two teams opened their Big Ten seasons by facing each other back in early December, and they haven't played since. Michigan edged out a 3-point victory in that game, even though they were plus 3-point underdogs on their home court. More recently, the Wolverines Michigan's defense showed some vulnerabilities during their matchup with Maryland on Saturday. Maryland ranks third in the Big Ten for scoring, and Wisconsin isn't far behind, averaging only one fewer point per game. The Badgers also aren't shy about taking three-pointers, and they've been successful with an average of 10 per game, the most in the conference. While Michigan does a solid job defending the three-pointer, they also tend to give up a lot of attempts. On top of that, the Wolverines are turning the ball over more than any other team in the Big Ten, and Wisconsin is the type of team that can take advantage of those mistakes. The Badgers have had a strong record against the spread all season. As our first pick for this matchup, we believe the Wisconsin Badgers will win and cover the spread as favorites. When it comes to tempo, Wisconsin is ranked 148th in adjusted tempo on KenPom, while Michigan is much faster, sitting at 61st. These teams aren't your typical Big Ten squads that rely on slow, methodical half-court play. Michigan likes to push the ball when they secure a rebound, and they've hit the over in 2 straight games during this tournament, along with 4 of their last 6 games overall. The Badgers, too, have gone over the total in 2 consecutive games in this tournament, and 3 of their last 4. As our second pick for this matchup, we recommend taking the over on the projected total for the game. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.